So I guess it makes most sense to play this and not haste anything. What a lame turn. We're only getting in for a few points of damage. Nah, I think it'll actually be decent, right? We're getting 6 there, plus 1 more from there. We got 2 from each of them, so 6, 7, 9 points of damage there with just 2 creatures and a Cavalcade. That's not bad. That's not bad math. What's up everybody, my name's Chance and today we're going to be hopping into a Mono Red Chandra's Cavalcade deck, and it's mostly for this card right here, Chandra's Pyreling. It's an incredible card, it's only an uncommon, and it's a card that can realistically go into a deck that you already have, or if you don't, it's very cheap to have. So Chandra's Pyreling fits perfectly into the Cavalcade of Calamity Mono Red deck that has been running rampant for, well, as long as Cavalcade of Calamity has been out, honestly, which, you know, whether you love it or hate it, it is a deck, and I think that people can learn from learning to appreciate all kinds of decks, be they control, aggro, or whatever. So we're going to be diving into this today. Chandra's Pyreling, what does it do? It's a 2-mana 1/3 that reads, whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Pyreling gets +1/+0 and gains double strike until end of turn. So how does this work into Cavalcade? For the newer people that don't know what Cavalcade of Calamity is, first off, it is a card that will be rotating come the next set, so like 3-4 months from now, right, when the next set comes in. This card will be rotating, so if you are someone that cares about that, maybe don't get it, but it is only an uncommon, so it's not the most expensive either. Nonetheless, it's a 2-mana enchantment. Whenever a creature you control with power 1 or less attacks, Cavalcade of Calamity deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. So Chandra's Pyreling has one power, so to speak. It swings in, and Cavalcade of Calamity, since it's not a creature that is attacking, it is non-combat damage, because it is an enchantment that is dealing damage, so non-combat. So basically every time Cavalcade of Calamity procs and deals damage to your opponent's face, then this thing gets boosted +1 and gets the double strike. Now obviously the first advantage, or the first +1, right, is the biggest advantage because it's what actually gives this creature double strike. But aside from that, you know, ramping up into double strike is always nice because you're not gaining 1 power, you're gaining 2 power, right, because it's double strike. Anyway, so that's very awesome. Now this combo is worked off the back of a combo that already exists with Chandra's Spitfire, where it's a 3-mana 1/3 that reads, whenever an opponent is dealt non-combat damage, Chandra's Spitfire gets +3/+0 until end of turn. Obviously, this has the potential to be a little bit more explosive given it's in the air and is evasive just innately. Also, the fact that it's +3 power just off the rip instead of +1 every time, so it can grow a lot bigger. But the problem with Chandra's Spitfire before, and you'll see we're only playing 3 copies. I recommend if you're actually going to play this deck, you play 4 copies. I just wanted to focus on the Pyreling, so hence the cut. But if you're going to play this deck, Chandra's Spitfire, the only real downside, besides obviously if you missed your stuff or if you get board wiped, is the fact that you relied on this solo card to deal all your damage or to be your sort of high boosting card. But now you have Chandra's Pyreling, and so it makes it go from having to get, you know, 1 of your 4 cards out of 60, you now have to get 1 of your 8 cards out of 60. So it's a lot more achievable and a lot more reliable. Some of the other new cards that we're going to be touching base here is Chandra, Heart of Fire. It's a 5-mana, 5 loyalty planeswalker, and I don't know how I feel about her in these low-cost mono red decks where I want her as a top end. I certainly wanted to try her, and hence why we have her as a 1 of here, but I don't think in the end that she actually makes it. I think she is much better in like a mid-range kind of mono red deck, or maybe an Is It deck. I'm still trying to find a home for her. I have no fears, it will get there, but she is very interesting in this deck given she plays out properly, right? So one of the main downsides is you want to be playing low lands in these Cavalcade of Calamity decks generally, and Chandra is a 5-mana card, so oftentimes you won't be able to play her on curve, so that's why her value sort of tanks even further. Anyways, her abilities: +1, discard your hand, then exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until end of turn, you may play cards exiled this way. really cool ability, and one of the problems that these mono red decks run into is they typically run out of gas, right? You run out of all the cards in your hand, and if you don't hit a lot up the stage, well, you have no card draw, so you're just sort of top decking. Chandra gives you access to 3 more cards, and then 3 more cards, so you're up to like 6, and then 3 more, and so on and so forth, right? So she sort of works against what the general problem with mono red is, which is running out of gas, running out of fuel. So her other +1 ability, Chandra Heart of Fire, deals 2 damage to any target. This is kind of nice because you can send it to your opponent's face, and immediately it's non-combat damage, because again, it's coming from a planeswalker, it's not coming from a creature that's swinging in, which is considered combat, right? Creatures fighting. So it's going to boost up your Chandra Spitfire and your Chandra's Pyreling, which is really nice. Also, you know, it works as removal if you need it as that, or removal from planeswalkers. It's just nice that it's a plus ability instead of a minus, so you're still gaining that loyalty and making her a little bit beefier and getting closer to the ultimate, which is, you know, in a deck like this, you're pretty much only going to be grabbing out your light up the stages or maybe a crash through if you're just like, you know, right there at winning the game or something. But adding 6 mana, that can help you get down your Fiery Emancipation, which leads me into this card. Again, we're playing this as a 1-of. I think truly, if you already have a Tor brand set up in your deck, it is much better. It's 2 less mana for 1, so it's 4 mana instead of 6. And the effect that it brings is similar, right? Because it gives +2 damage. So if you're dealing 1 damage, it now deals 3. Whereas this is, it deals triple the amount of damage you're dealing, so same amount of damage in the end, right? If you're dealing 1 damage, you're dealing 3, because 1 times 3 is, well, 3. So as far as a deck like this goes, it kind of deals the same. For the most part, I wanted to try it out with the Chandra's Pyreling and the Spitfire, you know, not so much the Cavalcade of Calamity, but because these get so big, and sometimes you have that problem where they come in late and you only have them swinging in once, or, you know, two creatures are swinging in, so this card only gets up to like a 4/3 or a 7/3, which isn't the world's scariest creature, but I figure if you multiply that by 3, that's huge. Same thing here, right? If you can get this up to, you know, a 3/3 and it's swinging with double strike, well, if each of those hits deals 9 damage, that's crazy. That's 18 damage total, right? So that's kind of my theory here with Fiery Emancipation. It worked out some-ish. We'll see it in action here in a minute. But next up, we have Chandra's Incinerator. It's 6 mana, 6/6 elemental. It has trample, which, you know, all that is like fine baseline stats, but the thing that makes this card crazy is it reads, this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total amount of non-combat damage dealt to your opponents this turn. So we've been talking about non-combat damage here with the Chandra and with the Cavalcade, and I mean, we have Heartfire also in the deck, so, and the Scorch Spitter. There's multiple ways of dealing that non-combat damage, to the point where you can actually get this thing down to costing like 3 mana consistently, and it's really nice to get down a 6/6 Trampler for 3 mana. And now, granted, this doesn't proc your Cavalcade of Calamity. The nice thing about it is it also reads, whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Incinerator deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker that player controls. So if you have a Cavalcade of Calamity down and you swing in with all your 1/1s and you have this down, when that Cavalcade of Calamity pings into your opponent, so let's say you had 3 1/1s swing in, right? Ping, ping, ping. It's going to proc this 3 individual times, and you're going to be able to send that 3 damage, you know, 2 to a creature and 1 to a planeswalker, or all 3 to 1 creature, or 1 to 3 different creatures, right? So it acts as this super nice sort of pseudo removal. Also, it's a body that can swing in. It's, you know, it's a really nice card. And I don't think that this is necessarily the deck that it'll be played in for sure. I do think we'll see it be played somewhere within its time of, you know, being in standard. So I'm not saying go out and spend your wild cards on it. I'm certainly not saying go get wild cards just to spend on it, but if you have it, toss it in here. I think it works very nicely with Cavalcade and, you know, other things. But on into the older cards, or, you know, for the newer players, some newer cards. Crash Through. It's a great card for 1 mana. I think as a one-off in a deck like this, it works very well. One problem that Chandra's Pyreling runs into is it's not a flying creature, right? It doesn't have evasive. It has double strike, which makes it very threatening as far as choosing a defender, right? It doesn't make it evasive to where it can't be chum blocked. So Crash Through, creatures you control gain trample until end of turn, draw a card. So it cycles itself out, and in those late game situations where you're like, well, I really need my Pyreling to get through, or if they have flyers and you're like, wow, my Chandra Spitfire really needs to stop hitting these Healer's Hawks, now you have a way with Crash Through, right? So I think 1, maybe even 2 copies, perfectly fine and actually really good for the deck. Next up we have Fervent Champion. It's a 1-mana 1/1 with first strike and haste, so already awesome off the bat. Not to mention it reads, whenever Fervent Champion attacks, another target attacking knight you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And the other part we won't worry about, but it says equip abilities you activate the target Fervent Champion costs 3 less to activate. We don't have any equip abilities, but there it is for people that are interested. So the cool thing, and you're sitting there asking yourself, Chance, does Fervent work with Champion? Does Fervent work with Cavalcade? And I say yes, because it says that whenever a creature you control with power 1 or less attacks. So when Fervent goes into attack, it will have 1 power, and whenever it attacks, it'll also proc its ability. So if you have 2 Fervents down, both of them will proc the Cavalcade, and then both of them will proc this ability where they give each other +1/+0. So you're dealing 2 points of damage with each of them with Cavalcade, and then 2 points of damage with each of them with their power, so 6 points of damage total, which is crazy given that's only 4 mana's worth of cards, right? Anyways, moving us down, we have 4 copies of Scorch Spitter. This one works very well with Chandra's Pyreling and Chandra's Spitfire. So Scorch Spitter, it's a 1-mana 1/1 that reads, whenever Scorch Spitter attacks, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking, which obviously you aim this at your opponent's face. It's counted as non-combat damage because it is the ability of a creature, right? It's not the creature hitting your opponent, it is the ability triggering on the creature that is dealing the damage. So it's non-combat damage. And again, I'm not the greatest with with magic rulings, and so I think I'm not the greatest with math, but so I think, like, if you're looking for the finer details, you should certainly look into it more. I think I'm explaining that one correctly. Torch Courier, it's a 1-mana 1/1 that has haste, and you can sacrifice it. Another target creature gains haste until end of turn. It's fantastic for your Chandra's Pyreling or your Chandra's Spitfire. Sometimes you just need them to hit the turn they come down. Torch Courier solves all of that problem, right? Heartfire is another great one if you're going to swing in and your opponent does some shisty shit where they're like trying to, you know, play a flash creature or remove one of your creatures. You can in turn use Heartfire. It's 2-mana instant speed. It is only a common, so it's very cheap as well. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. Heartfire deals 4 damage to any target. So again, it's non-combat damage, but instead of just being 1 non-combat damage, it's 4, which is real good removal on anything, or just, you know, 4 damage to your opponent's face, because again, this is mono red aggro where you're trying to build up that damage very quickly before your opponent really has time to set up any, you know, life gainings or ramp things that can defend them or whatever. So Heartfire, awesome as a 2 of, might even want to kick it up to a 3 of. Moving us down, we have 3 copies of Runaway Steamkin, and I want to preface this with 2 things actually. One, again, it's one of those cards that's going to be rotating out soon, so be cautious about getting it. And you probably won't see me caution that on things like Torch Courier where it's common, but yes, you should still keep in mind that it is going to be rotating after this next set enters. So Runaway Steamkin, 1, it's going to be rotating, so I don't recommend you go and spend rare wildcards on it. 2, it's really not even key in this deck to the point where I would like push that people get it, right? I was sort of on the fence about whether or not I wanted it, but ultimately went with it because it's a nice ramp. So if you have Runaway Steamkin, throw it in. If you don't worry about it. There's a lot of other things that you could play. I've already mentioned playing an additional copy of Crash Through and playing an additional copy of Heartfire, both of which are commons, right? So that already takes up 2 copies of your Runaway Steamkin. 1 more copy of Chandra Spitfire, excuse me for the voice crack. It's an uncommon. Boom, all 3 copies of this card out your deck, and for very, very cheap, right? Chandra Spitfire we've talked about extensively so far. Light Up Stage is 3 mana sorcery speed that reads, exile the top 2 cards of your library until end of turn. You may play those cards until the end of your next turn, I'm sorry. So it's kind of like pseudo card draw, because you don't exactly draw them into your hand, you exile them, which is sometimes better, sometimes worse if you can/can't play them. The nice thing is the spectacle cost on this is 1. Some of the newer players don't know what Spectacle is. Spectacle, you may cast this spell for its Spectacle cost rather than its mana cost if an opponent lost life this turn. So the thing that you're doing with this, you're swinging in with your 1/1's Cavalcade of Calamity is dealing that guaranteed damage, which makes this go down to only costing 1 mana. So for 1 mana, you get to draw 2 cards, which is insane value, right? Moving us down, we have Annex Hardened in the Forge. 1, it's going to gain up huge power just from the amount of red devotion you have because it's a Mono Red deck. 2, every time a creature of yours dies, so whether you're sacrificing a Torch Courier or just sending a Scorch Spitter to its death to proc that non-combat damage, it's going to create this little 1/1 Satyr, and well, you guessed it, it's a 1 power creature, so it also procs Cavalcade. So it's like you have a creature procking Cavalcade swinging in, and you get a creature that proc Cavalcade after it dies, so it's kind of nice. Furthermore, again, his power can get huge, so it's a really nice card, and it's only an uncommon. It's one of those demigods that you can get and not feel like you wasted your stuff on it, which honestly the red and the black demigod are pretty good. The white demigod's pretty good. The blue demigod I think is the only one that didn't see a whole lot of play. Anyways, sidetrack. Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, it's 3 mana. Again, you don't absolutely need Chandra in the deck. I do think she adds more than the Runaway Steamkin does, but it is still replaceable. You could throw in a skewer. We were going to get into all that at the end. I'm getting ahead of myself. Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, 3 mana. For 0, you can create 2 little 1/1 red elemental creature tokens. They gain haste, so they get to attack that turn, and you sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step, so you don't even have to worry about them dying. It's really nice. For -2, you can blah blah blah. You may cast target instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard. If you do, exile that card. So it allows you to cast your Heartfire back if you've already cast it, or same thing with Crash Through, right? Light of Sage, where you can get double value out of it. So that's kind of nice. Aside from that, I think that's going to do it for our deck tech or deck breakdown. We are only playing 20 lands, 3 of which are Castle Emberth's. You know what I'm saying, because sometimes you just need to boost your creatures up. Again, if you're going to use Castle Emberth, if you have it in your deck, the way you use it with Cavalcade of Calamity, you swing all in with your creatures and make sure that they proc Cavalcade, and then you activate your Castle Emberth. So heads up for all those newer players out there. Now, this has been a rather long deck tech or deck breakdown. I'm super sorry about it. Watch all the way through to the end so you can get all the pro tips in the middle, and of course the deck tech wrap up at the end. Thanks everybody for all the support you've shown so far. Without further ado, let's hop into the matches. Everyone has their own cup of tea. Speaking of tea, Mighty gonna be our next. Y'all like that transition? I thought it was pretty awesome. I really like this hand, and it also scares the shit out of me because we only have 2 lands and we have such high cost cards. And the opponent gets to go first. But if I take a mulligan, I'll regret it. I do every time. Every time I take a mulligan. Well, that's not true. But like, a good 50% of the time I take a mulligan, I'm like, fuck. Because y'all know me, I almost will never mulligan down to 5 unless it's like a card draw ramp style deck where I know that I can get back from 5. But past that, like, cutting 2 cards out of your starting hand is like just chopping off. It's like chopping off a hand in a fight. Now, I'm not saying like one-handed people can't fight, because, you know, don't let me say that. I'm sure there's one-handed people that could kick my ass. But, you know, if your opponent's got more of an arsenal just out the bat, it feels a little hard to stack up, yeah? So what do I want here? Because they're about to get that wall, right? Which I'm just sort of, I guess, skirting around this for the time being. Do I want a Cavalcade though? Like that's the question I'm asking. Because we're at 3 mana. I have enough to get the Chandra Spitfire down, but we don't. Since we don't have the Cavalcade down already, sacrificing Torch Courier for the Chandra Spitfire is worthless. Which means I'd almost rather just get down like a Chandra Acolyte of Flame. No, I think I would go for the Cavalcade actually, now that I'm thinking about it. We'll see though. Castle Emberth. It was none of the above. Secret choice number letter C. So we are going to go for Chandra here, I think. Maybe they won't quench us. Beautiful. I wasn't that thirsty.
Fires without me.
Yeah. So they're bouncing our Chandra. Luckily, we got the ability off first, so we're getting in some damage. Now, granted, we don't have the Cavalcade down yet, so we're not getting in as much as what we could. Still, having 5 attackers, 2 of which get in free damage just overhead is potentially 7 damage. Even if one gets blocked, that's 6 damage, you know, total for the turn. Not bad. Not a bad turn 3. Of course, didn't I figure out that, like, Mono White could have 8 points of damage by turn 3? Let me see, it was 3 plus 1's 4, 3, 7 plus 1, 8. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, so it's an Azorius player that left all of their stuff untapped. You know what, let's just jam the Chandra back down. Either she makes it or she doesn't, but I'd much rather baby Chandra get countered over big Chandra. So, that's just how I'm feeling right now.
Pyromancer extraordinaire.
Chandra no
Don't
law.
worry, I brought company.
Don't worry. She brought company. Alright, so another 6 points of damage across the board if we can get it to stick. So they're going down to what, 6? We could have also just used Castle Embereth. Was that lethal? Well, I mean, I guess it... No, even if they had let everything run through, it would have been lethal with using Castle Embereth. But they would have been low as hell. Oh, but we wouldn't have the 2 extra attackers as well, so they wouldn't have been nearly that low. What are they waiting for here? Why would they not block? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. How do you, as an Azorius player, justify, like, nah, I have a 0-4 wall, but I don't want to lose it to those little 1/1s. Surely that's why people play the Birth of Melitus, to keep that 0-4 wall alive. Some people crack me up. Mighty, you are one of those people. You're a mighty funny person. What the heck? You got that right, Chandra. What the heck is right? Someone just comes out of nowhere. Time wipe. Well, that's rude. That's so rude. How dare you? How dareth you?
I feel great. Nothing can slow me down.
Am I creating 2 1/1s or am I putting a loyalty counter on the other Chandra? I think realistically what we should be doing here is create these 2.
Say hi to my fiery friends.
Deal 2. That leaves them at, well, you guessed it, 2. So they have to have an answer for both of our planeswalkers here. Alright? They either have to be able to get creatures down and remove Chandra Heart of Fire, or remove Chandra Acolyte of Flame. And no? Okay. Cool Beans picking up another victory up against Mighty, and Chandra Heart of Fire actually coming into use there. I think she'll be better actually in a more mid-rangey mono red deck. Beliant maybe? Gonna be our first foe with this Chandra's Cavalcade deck. You know, I see 2 Chandras in hand. It's hard for me to say no. The deck's literally named after her, so that and I'm really want to try out Chandra Heart of Fire, so we'll see. I think this is a little bit expensive for a Cavalcade deck in the general sense, but y'all know me. If I'm not playing ranked, I'm playing to have fun, and if I'm playing to have fun, well, all bets are off the table. Not all bets. I still want a deck that's coherent and can win and all that, you know. But I want to play what I want to play, and I'm going to find a way to do that, right? Which I think not enough players in Magic do too often, and especially now since people have the internet. I'm imagining it may have been different back in paper Magic, but you know, now that everybody can just sort of go grab a list, it's a lot easier for people to be lazy, you know. I'm not calling anybody specifically lazy, I just in general. Do I want another runaway Steamkin? Back to the topic at hand, the game, right? Quit talking about this this non-meta bullshit, Chance. Quench. You know, you hate to see it, but it happens. Am I using Crash Through just to draw a card and pump my Steamkin? I mean, it seems like a fair assessment. Given what we're up against here, if it's control, we want to be going faster rather than slower, right? You know, I tell you, the joys of living beside so many animals. One, you get to wake up and hear like so much life in the morning. I really do enjoy living beside so many animals, but the insects, the mosquitoes, the flies, the spiders, the snakes. Those aren't insects, but you know what I mean. And spiders aren't insects either. You get what I'm saying? The life that comes with animals, and they're not our animals, they're our neighbors. It's incredible. We are going to use Light Up the Sage here. And I enjoy having it because, like I said, every time I step outside, you get to hear, you know, a donkey or a peacock or a chicken. So you get to hear something. And that's always fantastic. So now I'm kind of curious if they have another quench, right? Because I have enough mana here to just, boom, Chandra, Heart of Fire. And I really want to. I really, really want to. But my gut says just go for the symbol Chandra, Acolyte of Flame. Or maybe even just Chandra, Spitfire. Let's try it. Let's try it. Actually, I'm fairly sure there was a combo of plays here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Well, this will still, I think this will still equal up to 3, right? If I play these two, we'll still get the 3 counters back, and then we can also play a Chandra Spitfire. We can have a pretty huge board. Slither Wisp. Ah, we could have played. I feel so bad now.
Anyone need a match? No. Too bad.
Yeah, I could probably set myself on fire with Mash. That might not be bad. It'll be all right. We'll get you down, baby. Don't you worry. And hey, if our hand's smaller when we get you down, isn't that all the better? We don't have anything we could cast. Although we could have cast the Light of the Sage. That would have been fantastic. All right, so we'll just give her another loyalty counter.
Gave us homework.
That was a pretty good turn, though, all in all for us. We got down 2 Fervents, a Chandra Spitfire, and a Chandra Acolyte of Flame. So altogether, 8 mana's worth with only 3 lands. That's it's not too shabby. It's not too shabby. Now, if our opponent holds up the 4 mana, I assume that they assume that we know that they have some removal. This is a lot of assumptions. So I'm going to triple block this. If they just go straight for the Chandra Spitfire, it won't work because first strikes. And if they kill a first striker, then we'll still get to kill the Slither Wisp. So all in all, it feels like a good play. I could be wrong. Nope. Okay, well. But Liant, they've seen enough. They said, I don't know, you got me. Certainly take it. Rubini. Rubini? Houdini. Gonna be our second foe for the day. Yeah, Scorch Spitter, cool. And we have the Cavalcade off the bat. The only thing is I always struggle, like, mentally. When I see a hand this good, and I'm like, oh, I have everything. What do I even play? You get down the Steamkin. I truly think that. You do another Steamkin, because the ability to ramp into that much mana / damage, it's actually insane. And, you know, if it catches some removal, if your opponent's playing that good old Teamer Reclamation, so be it. It happens. You can't control the world. I think in this scenario, it might actually be better to play the Cavalcade. Let's see, if I don't, I get like I can get 2 charge counters on this come next turn. I actually like the idea of playing the Pyreling here. Because next turn when we play the Cavalcade, it'll automatically proc when it lands, right? So we want the Pyreling to be able to attack ASAP. I'm kind of glad that I put the Steamkin down first, because otherwise I think our Pyreling would have died, and it may still die here. You know, they still have 2 mana, and if it's a Teamer Reclamation, they definitely have more answers, whether they be Aether Gust or, you know, whatever. So here, I'm fairly sure since they passed it back to me, they either have an Aether Gust or another Scorching Dragonfire, right? So we'll go ahead and get down the Cavalcade before we swing in. There's the Aether Gust. Are we putting that on top? Yes. Because it's so much damage and it's so explosive with our, well, Cavalcade and with all these 1-power creatures we have on the field, I think it's worth it. Now, obviously, we're hoping they don't have a Storm's Wrath here. But if so, it's okay. We do still have 2 more creatures that can immediately enter the battlefield. We'll see. They did shock that in. No, it's Wilderness Wreck. Well, for them to have shocked that in, they must have fairly high confidence that they can remove a creature here, right? I'm telling you, Chandra's Pyreling, if it had haste. No, Rubini, they're scooping it out. They said that was it. I had the Aether Gust, I had the Scorching Dragonfire. Past that, you got me. I like Chandra's Pyreling. It's very, very strong, I think. Kaitsuzuki? Kaitsuzuki? I hope I'm saying that right. I'm trying to get better about pronunciation of names. Not that I'm like doing anything to get better at it, you know, like reading or studying. I'm just thinking it into fruition, right? That's pretty much how most of my life goes. I'm like, this will happen. This will totally happen. This will happen. And then, you know, eventually my body's like, fine, we'll make it happen. So again, I'm kind of running with the same logic as what I had last. Yo, for real. Kind of running with the same logic I had last time, to where I kind of want to just throw down a Chandra's Pyreling into a Cavalcade of Calamity, given how much damage it can actually provide for us. But at the same time, if I'm able to ramp with the Runaway Steamkin, given the amount of cheap spells we have here, it might turn out for the better in the long run. We're up against a Priest deck, which means they're probably going to have a lot of lower drop creatures, whether they be creatures or tokens. So I think we do get down Chandra's Pyreling, because it can stomp those lower creatures, right? Because it has the double strike. So we'll just take them out. Maybe. Arcane Vessel, don't play a Croxa. Oh, please don't play a Croxa. Maybe we'll draw into a land. That would be really nice. Yeah. Again, you lose some, you win some. I think in this scenario, and I know some of you are going to be cussing at me, but it might be better for us to take away the Steamkin. The way that I'm looking at it, either that or Fervent, but like the creature with haste, that could be good. Like if we draw into a land and I can get down Cavalcade plus Fervent, that's a good play. I like Scorch Spitter, because if we're not getting a land, then playing these two is kind of nice. All right. We gotta start playing faster. I hate playing up against aggro people that play super slow, so we gotta start playing faster. 2 cats. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Shit. So they're definitely sacrificing next turn, and I don't want to have to sacrifice a creature. Really don't. I don't think we swing in with Fervent. And if we have to sacrifice here, I think we might actually sacrifice the Fervent. We'll have to see. They have 2 cards in hand, but honestly, if one of them's, what is it? Not Grasp of the Undying. Fuck, yes, that. God damn it, that sucks. Alright. Damn, I should have played that Steamkin when I had the chance, right? If I could have kept it on board, I might have actually ramped up hard enough to get more things on the board quicker. Gotta say though, I'm not surprised by what our opponent's doing. We all knew Rakdos, Mono Black. We know that shit's gonna be bad. Bad, bad. Not much we can do about it. Alrighty, GG. Alrighty, I don't know what your name is, and that first letter kind of just looks like a squiggly line. Actually, tell you what it looks like. It looks like a man fishing. There you go. Right, because like that's the little guy and he has his fishing pole and that's the fish that he caught. I think that's pretty accurate. We're going with the Scorch Spitter. You see me keeping a lot of these hands, but honestly a lot of these hands are keepable. I feel like that was one of those statements, you know, sometimes people are like, well, it is what it is, and you're like, well, that didn't fucking help me at all, you know. You're like, okay, cool, I don't know what it is. That kind of felt like one of those statements where I said something and I was like, well, I feel like that was kind of a blanket statement. I'm not gonna lie, I want to go for the Chandra Spitfire and just pray that all they have is Growth Spiral. So that's what we're doing, baby. Let's hit it. Oh yeah, looky there. All those days of fear and quench, and now nobody runs quench. They just run Growth Spiral because they're like, if I can ramp hard enough into my Yugen, doesn't even matter. We'll see though. We'll see if it matters in the end. So we're dealing 4 here. Next turn we have enough to slam down the Cavalcade. That's what I like about Cavalcade. I feel like people do it all wrong. They just want to get it down early and get in the damage early. But I feel like Cavalcade is kind of more of an ooh, that's really good. It's really, really good. Well, unfortunately, we have to play Cavalcade first here. I think they might have a Frilled Mystic, is why I say unfortunately. It happens. It happens, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. But what we can do is play down another Scorch Spitter, and that'll make our Runaway Steamkin big enough to go through the wall. That is Frilled Mystic. And then we're going to swing in, and if they make the mistake of blocking with our Scorch Spitter, well, then we get the free Frilled Mystic, right? Thanks. Now, board wipe would be terrible for us, but it'll be alright. Taking a Frilled Mystic for a Scorch Spitter, 1 mana for a 4 mana, that feels pretty free. I like the Black Demon. Yeah, I do enjoy that card. Where do you want the list? Yeah, this is fun. I'll pull it up. I still gotta do the... I have several lists actually. Alrighty, so now we're just sort of waiting. Maybe they're thinking of what they can do. Do I have lethal? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, and that one's gonna go 4. So yeah, I have lethal on board. Well, that's kind of nice, and not to mention Castle Embereth, so that's, you know, more damage. So let's see if our opponent can come up with the answer that they need. I mean, it is 4 mana and it's Simic, so, you know, Euro can give them 3 more life and that keeps them alive. I don't know. Maybe they have another Frilled Mystic. If so, is playing the Chandra's Pyreling now what I want to do, or do I want to save mana for... I think I want to save mana for Castle Embereth. Alright, so we swing all in. They have 4 mana. What do y'all think they do to prevent 6 damage, 4 mana, and Simic? Brazen? Okay, so I'm dealing 1, 2, 3. If I pump them, I'm dealing 4, 5. So you resolve that. Okay. I was about to say, if it's another Brazen Bar, or fuck. But if it's not, they're down to 1, which is 1 Scorch Spitter swing in. I don't know if we have any shocks in the deck. I feel like we should be running some shocks and some, I can't think of the name of it. Skewer this, critics. I was gonna say Skewer the Spirits. That's how you know you play Magic too much and you read way too many cards, when you're combining cards that have nothing to do with one another together. That's alright. Ooh, that is spicy, because that puts them back up in life. I tell you, we can't catch a fucking break, can we? It can never just be simple like, oh, chance, here's a cavalcade. Damn you, game. Damn you, damn you. Alright, well. If I swing all in and pump the Castle Embereth, we are getting 3 points of damage, right? Sitting here complaining, has lethal. Only me. Only me. If you would just use that noggin instead of bitching so much, Chance. Look at what you can achieve. Alright, so picking up another victory. Sweet. Sub-Zero 20 gonna be our next foe. We are gonna keep this hand. Mostly because I see 2 new cards, and I'm a sucker when a new set comes out. I just wanna see the new stuff, you know? I'm like a kid on Christmas. But yeah, I still appreciate the toys you got me last year. I'm still gonna play with them in like a week or 2. But you gotta let me enjoy the new stuff. Oh. Alrighty. So getting in some good damage. We're up against Esper. Does it scare me? Oh, well, fuck yeah. Because things like this exist, you know? And because they got to go first, I don't even get my fucking annex down. What a shame. What a shame. Damn it. Things keep popping up so I can't move my fervent over. Now, I'd like to see a Cavalcade of... Oh, okay. You know, you give me what you want, game, and I'll take it gladly. We're going to get down to fervent. Because it'll make the annex go up, so if they have some kind of removal here, I don't feel nearly as bad. Pop them. Get them. That's what you like to see. Alright, and we'll light up the stage. Maybe, unless they counter. No? Hey, I'll take a land. That puts us up to, what, 5 mana? That's enough to get down the Incinerator, which is a 6/6 with trample. No joke. I'm not laughing. I am very tired. I'm sorry. I'm saying some just like, oh, that hurts. Hurts my pride, that hurts my ego. Most importantly, though, it hurts my board state. Get them! Just attack. They fucked with your leader. You must now destroy them. Decent argument could be made to play Chandra there and just create 2 1/1s because that puts them down to 5, right? But again, you know, let me play that fun stuff. I like the art for Chandra's Incinerator, but it doesn't feel like it belongs in this set, you know? To me personally, it feels like it belongs in a set where they're focusing on like superheroes or some shit. I don't know. Like, it's a personal opinion, okay? It's like assholes. Everybody has one. Yeah. Attack! What? They only have a 2/2 blocking and have a 6/6 trampler. And one that deals damage, so like, yeah. Sub-Zero 20, get out of here. It's your Esper. I'm super happy we took down an Esper deck, by the way. But you're right, I need to set aside some time for playing Magic and having fun. By the way, TCR. That's what we'll call you. TCR. I like it. We have a Torch Courier into a Cavalcade with like Chandra's Pyreling and all that stuff. I love the idea of that. Now, we didn't necessarily need to get Torch Courier down there, and I think that was actually a misplay on my part. I think Scorch Spitter would have been miles better. But I did what I did, and I'm not taking it back. Mostly because I can't, okay? I'm not going to lie to you, it's mostly because I can't. We're up against Bond, and they're shocking stuff in. They're cultivating. They're planting the seeds. We're gonna see if we can take them out before they get to reap them. All right, my turn. Hey, we hit a 4th land there. That is really good. It means we could just drop the Cavalcade here. Come next turn, play the Spitfire and the Scorch Spitter. I could also just play these 2 here. Play this here. I don't really want to haste this creature. I'd rather haste like this creature, but if I haste this creature this turn, it doesn't make any sense. So I guess it makes most sense to play this and not haste anything. What a lame turn. We're only getting in for a few points of damage. No, I think it'll actually be decent, right? We're getting 6 there, plus 1 more from there. We got 2 from each of them, so 6, 7, 9 points of damage there with just 2 creatures and a Cavalcade. That's not bad. That's not bad math. Shatter. Shatter in my dreams. Shatter in my heart. Most importantly, shatter in the sky. Alright. Chandra Spitfire into a Fervent. You couldn't ask for a spicier wombo off of the back of a Shatter the Sky, so I'm pretty happy about that, given this allows us to have lethal if we can maintain it. A Banishing Light on the Cavalcade? No, on the Chandra Spitfire. That probably makes more sense. Given we could always just play another Cavalcade right down, right? So if I could get a land for that Chandra Heartifier, I'd actually be pretty fucking happy about it. Can y'all chant with me? Land, land, land. I think we may only have 20 in the deck though, so 22. Hey! Never didn't have it. Never didn't have it. Now the question is, are we exiling or are we just dealing 2 damage? I think first things first, we're dealing the damage, right? Because if I +1, then it gives me more cards come next turn also to look at if my Chandra can live. But if they have an ECD or something in hand, then I'm kind of regretting not. Oh, whatever. Those are spicy.
No, I'm gonna do what feels
Don't ECD my Chandra, please. Please, TCR. I need a little TLC, if you know what I mean. This song. Speaking of needing TLC, it's like so soothing. Like I expect to hear this when I'm being put to sleep in a sauna or something. You bitch. You absolute motherfucker. Alright, so if I do this, I'm dealing 3 points of damage. If I pump it, I'm dealing 3 points of damage. So either way, I'm dealing 3 points of damage. And I don't care about a Narset. I'll tell you that right now. Please, if I had one more land, that would have been a pog win. But instead, they're down to 1 life. TCR, the opponent that just won't die. They won't quit. They're getting down to Yugen. Are you exiling everything though? That's the question. Because if you exile everything, you're exiling your Banishing Lights, or you just exiling 1. Like 1 CMC, 2 CMC. I doubt they hit 3 CMC. So just 2 CMC? Yeah. They hit us for 2. That's a pain. But if I can get a creature that has haste, nope.
You are too dangerous to know.
Oh man. This motherfucker's actually gonna come back on us. If I could have gotten a creature with haste, we could have used Castle Embereth and killed him. So Torch Carrier, Fervent. And now they have Mana for the Essence Scatter. I think it's over.
Do not ignore my draconic talents.
There are so many mysteries to uncover.
No, they're all the way back up to 3 life. We can't instant give that. How much health? Oh, fuck. Alright, that's GG. You hate to see it. But it's Bont, you know? What are you gonna do? Bant, Bont, whatever the fuck it is. Big Sithy, gonna be our next foe. These are all old cards. Yeah, I like playing competitive Magic when I'm playing competitive Magic. But if I'm not playing competitive Magic, then the idea of like, oh, I have to play this card because it's better than the other one also goes out the window for me, because like having that mindset is how you get back to, you know, Rakdos Sacrifice or Bont Control Ramp, whatever if you want to call it. All right, so I don't know. thought about it a lot if I was gonna slam all 3 Scorch Spitters or, you know, just heart fire them. I like the idea of all 3 Scorch Spitters, honestly. Risen Ray. It's kind of cool. They got a little Bant ramp deck going on here. I wonder if it's Bant. It's not Bant. Simic. I wonder if it's Simic counters. You know, that could be interesting. So I'm not gonna lie, I want to get down Chandra Spitfire because the idea of a Heartfire and Cavalcade next turn sounds so enticing. Like you swing in right with all your creatures, and then you also have the Cavalcade and the Heartfire. Oof. Castle Garenbrig. So they're up to like 6 mana for creatures at least. That's not bad. Oh. Okay, well. Obviously they're not paying too much attention. Yeah, so what you actually do there is you use your Castle Garenbrig, which gives you 6 mana, and then you have a 6/6 instead of a 5/5. Not that it matters too much in this case because like we're playing Mono Red Cavalcade, right? So it's like not a big deal. But yeah, still couldn't matter. Anyways, we're getting all in their faces. Now they do have a reach creature, right? So how are we getting rid of that? So we can only do a 4 with Heartfire. I guess we don't. I guess we just take it. Take it on the chin. Oh, they're blocking it with the 2/2. Okay. Do we let this go all the way through, or do we Heartfire this Scorch Spitter into that Stone Cool? Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, why you wouldn't take out my Chandra Spitfire, that's beyond me. Torch Courier would actually kind of be nice because we get down Chandra's Pyreling and a Torch Courier, and that just sounds kind of fun. Right, I mean, I guess that's a great reason for not killing my Chandra Spitfire in the last turn. You got another one. Well, we can't afford to exactly swing in here. We could, but their Stone Cool should block the Chandra Spitfire. Great hinge. Probably should have swung in. Looking back on it now. They might have just run away with it. You know, that's the thing with Mono Red. You do need to get out early. Or we're going to need something like a Chandra or Fiery Emancipation. Am I right? Now, why are they leaving up 2 mana? Is it Growth Spiral or what? Because it just kicks straight to combat, which means they don't have another creature in hand. Is it a counter spell? I highly doubt they swing in. Yeah. Chandra's Incinerator. If I swing in, we're dealing 3 points of, 4 points, so that thing goes up to a 4/3 with double strike, which is enough to take out their Stone Cool. Yeah. Here's the thing, if we only end up trading here, still fine for us. So we have the Chandra's Incinerator, which is a big old 6/6. And if they end up doing something like blocking our Spitfire with their tiny little Crisis, even better for us, right? If they don't, then what do they block into this Pyreling? The Crisis? Like Risen Reef. They want the Crisis alive. Out of everything they have, they want the Crisis alive the most. That's a little weird. Anyways, we're getting down an Incinerator for only 2 mana. That's not bad. If only we had something to like follow it up with, I'd call that a super busted play. Because obviously a 6/6 Trampler for 2 mana is fucking nuts. Well, you hate to see this, where your opponent has the Great Hinge and they just go on a tear. Alright, so are they swinging in with that Hydra Crisis, given they know that I have a 6/6 Trampler? The nice thing is, if I can get... No, they don't. Well, that's a pain. I actually kind of wanted them to go for the damage. We probably lost here just because at this point we're just top decking. Like it's just top deck city. You don't really want to ever aim at a planeswalker, you know? But we're not anywhere close enough to where I can just swing it face. I don't think. I'm getting to deal 1 point of damage. I guess we could have taken our Chandra Pyreling and swung at Garrett. That's a misplay. Yeah, if I'd have aimed it at him, we could have killed him here. They're trading a Crystalline Giant for a Chandra's Pyreling. I hit the Crystalline Giant so that way they couldn't just double block into my Incinerator, but that was a weird choice from them. If we can just find something of substance. Listen, fuck.
Together, we will prevail.
Simic is pretty good right now. Just ramp in general is real good right now. There's like 0 drawback to it. You know, you get to gain life, you get tons of mana, so you get to play everything from your hand, you get to draw cards. So like everything you want to do in Magic, and it's all just like tacked on to ramp, you know? Because Great Henge is life gain and ramp and card draw. Krasis is life gain and card draw. Nissa is ramp and creatures, you know? I wonder what is, okay. Wonder what is pushing for ramp so hard in standard, like why they're wanting it to be such a thing. Con Artist, I like that. Con Artist. We did go first, and we have a pretty stacked hand. Now I actually kind of like the idea of the Scorch Spitter first here. I think it has the potential for more damage than the Fervent. I know what I said about using Cavalcade as a sort of a sneaky combo explosive deck, but it does actually allow us to deal more damage here. Weighing the options on whether or not it's worth it to just like swing all in. Opponent just didn't block and had 0 reason to not block, and then turns around and pays 2 life sorcery speed. Con Artist, I think you're only conning yourself. So we're up to 5 mana and we have a Chandra in hand. If I could get... I mean, I can understand that sentiment. Alrighty, it took quite a while for the deck tech in the beginning. I'm going to try to keep the deck tech wrap up shorter. First off, I want to thank you if you watched all the way through the video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like down below, comment in the comment section, and of course subscribe if you're new here and you want to see more content, as that always helps support the channel. It's free and, well, it gives you notifications whenever I post videos and post and all that nice stuff. If you're looking to play us, blah 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 blah, if you're looking to see us play these decks live, hop over to twitch.tv/DrSpilkin and toss a follow. And then last but not least, if you're looking for a Discord community to join up with, I recommend hopping down in the description of any of the videos, which I recommend that anyways, because I try to give some pretty spicy type stuff down. I don't know what it's called. You know what I'm saying though. Descriptions stuff. On into the deck tech wrap up. What do I actually recommend? Taking out, slotting in, changing around, moving, all that great stuff. First off, Footfall Crater. It's an uncommon, so it's pretty cheap for budget players. It's a 1 mana card and it reads Enchant Land. Enchanted Land has tap, target creature gains trample and haste until end of turn, and then for 1 mana you can cycle it out. So generally you can play this down, in the slot of Crash Through, or if you're looking for replacements for your Runaway Steamkin / Chandra, right? I didn't mean to send you all the way over there, Chandra. So again, it's very cheap in all manners, and if you don't need it, you can cycle it, so it's even good in that manner. Next up, we have Infuriate. If you're more about dealing the explosive damage quickly and sort of surprisingly, Infuriate's great for you. It's a 1 mana instant speed. It's only common, so it's very cheap, and it reads target creature gets +3/+2. Again, if you're going to use this, I recommend you use it after Cavalcade has procced with your creature. So next up, we have Shock. There's a lot of things, your Chandra's Pyreling and your Chandra's Spitfire that work based off non-combat damage, and so things like Shock, also your Chandra's Incinerator, right? Things like Shock are real good at either reducing the cost or proccing their abilities. So it's 1 mana, it's common, it deals 2 damage to any target, so you can send it to your opponent's face or use it as removal or whatever. Next up, we have 10 Street Dodger. If you don't like Torch Courier, or you don't like any of those choices I have in the 1-drop slot, or you just want more 1-drops, 10 Street Dodger, fantastic choice. It's a 1 mana 1/1 that has haste, and for 1 mana you can make it to where 10 Street Dodger can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with Defender, and well, let's be real, we don't see creatures with Defender that often. Next up, we have Raking Claws. I found this one to be pretty interesting, but it was more so used for Chandra Spitfire, but I think I should still note it, given we have Annex in the deck and Chandra's Incinerator, so I think it still has its place. It's just not, it does have the Nombo with Chandra's Pyreling, but again, it has cycling, so even in that situation you can cycle it for 2 and not completely lose value. So Raking Claw, target creature gains double strike until end of turn. You're going to be using this on your Chandra Spitfire, your Annex, your Chandra's Incinerator, right? Or maybe even your Runaway Steamkin if you can get it sizable enough. Next up, we have Legion Warboss. Again, don't go craft this one, but if you have it, it's a nice slot into the deck. It's 3 mana, and if you don't want to play Annex, it's a great replacement. Creates little 1/1 red goblin creature tokens every single turn that are tapped and attacking, so it automatically procs the Cavalcade of Calamity. Next up, I think I mentioned this one in the deck tech, Skewer the Critics. It's a 3 mana sorcery speed spell that has a spectacle cost of 1, so again, kind of like Light Up the Stage. And then Skewer the Critic deals 3 damage to any target, so it's great non-combat damage, it's great removal, and for 1 mana, dealing 3 damage is, well, really value town, right? Moving us down, if you're going to play a deck like this in best of 3, I feel like I should mention this. Tibalt Rakish Instigator is fantastic. It's 3 mana, it's an uncommon, so it's very cheap, and it reads your opponents can't gain life. So Mono Red's biggest downfall is when your opponent just gains 5 life off the rip, and you're like, well, I had calculated perfectly to deal 22 damage, 23 damage, whatever it is, but now you have 2 points over that, and then your whole plan just crumbles away. So Tibalt is kind of nice for those sideboard options. It is a 5 loyalty planeswalker that can -2 twice, so you can end up getting 2 1/1 red devil creature tokens with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target, which again procs your non-combat damage for Chandra's Pyreling, Spitfire, and the Incinerator. Alrighty, I think I did better in this one than in deck tech in the beginning. There's just a lot to break down with this, given I know a lot of newer players are hopping into it, and there's a lot of interactions here back and forth and whatever. Anyways, thanks everybody always for the continued support. I'm very tired. I'm doing these videos after work here recently because things have been going wrong here, there, whatever. But I do appreciate the support, the continued support, even whenever I'm happy or sad or energetic or tired or up or down, whatever. I appreciate the support that y'all give through it all, and it makes, honestly, all of this a lot better. Anyways, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks everybody for watching. As always, I hope you have a great night, and we'll see you either later tomorrow or tonight, something like that. I don't know. Peace.